You may have heard of Love Letter, but what you may not have heard of is Archer, Once You Go Blackmail. The version of Love Letter with the Archer show plastered all over it. Now, Archer might be a pretty good show, but let's see if Archer, Once You Go Blackmail is a pretty good game.
Lana. 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 Lana! What?
From this point on, I'm just gonna go and call Archer Once You Go Blackmail Archer Love Letter, because it's less of a mouthful, rolls off the tongue a little better. The normal Love Letter is an extremely short risk deduction game for 2 to 4 players. Takes about 5 minutes. It takes 5 minutes. In Love Letter, players have to make educated guesses on the game state in order to best their opponents. Don't judge me. Okay, so like I said before, rounds take about 5 minutes each, and you can play as many rounds as you goddamn please. Though the rulebook does have a couple recommended win counts depending on if you have 2, 3, or 4 players. The objective of Archer Love Letter is to be the last player standing, or to have the highest numbered card in your hand when the round ends. Archer Love Letter operates with the exact same rules as the normal version, but it does add a few new rules that make it stand out more than something like your average Monopoly reskin. Component overview time. So let's see what's inside this tiny game. Like, look how small this is. These are my hands. This is the box. There's a chainsaw outside. Alright, so the first thing we got in here is this little baggie filled with dolphin puppet tokens. So these you give out to players who win rounds. They win a round, you give them one of these. Use that to track your victories. Next, we got the cards themselves. So there are 16 cards in Love Letter. They are numbered from 1 through 8 with varying distribution. Very colorful, ooh la. Next, you got 4 of these reference cards. So these not only tell you how many of each number is there in the game, but also what each one does. Very handy dandy. You lastly get a rule book, also extremely tiny. It basically just explains the bare basics and what each card does. There's not much else to really put in there because this game is really simple, but it's really thoughtful. I don't know how they keep doing this. Like, games that are simple and thoughtful are my jam. That's it. This is just cut out. This box, there's like nothing in this game. It's like, it's amazing. My God, it's so compact. Just give me a sec. Okay, so here's how you play Archer Love Letter. Okay, at start a game, all right, you give everyone one game card from the main deck. So we're just gonna assume there's 4 people playing. Okay, and then you're gonna give everyone a reference card. Boom, a bam, and a bib, a bop. Then you're gonna set aside 1 card face down from the main deck in the middle. Now, that card is called the Hidden Identity card. Love Letter does this so that players will never be able to have perfect information about the game state, as there will always be uncertainty as to what card was removed from the game. Okay, so every card in this game has a number and an effect, okay? Everyone's reference card lists every single effect as well as how many copies of each card exist. So you should always be able to know what the hell is going on in the game at all given times. On your turn, you will simply draw a card. Shuffle your 2 cards a bit so people can't tell what you drew, and then you discard a card. That's it. That's all you ever do in this game. So easy. However, there is still an amazing amount of depth despite this simplicity, because every card in the game has an effect when it is discarded. Now, I'm not going to go over all 8 effects that are possible, but they usually vary from things like disrupting your opponent's hands, or eliminating players through guessing their cards, or gaining information about the game state. Now, you're going to keep individually taking turns until someone wins the round through either eliminating everyone else or by having the highest numbered card in their hand when the deck runs out of cards. Then the winner gets one of those, puppet tokens, dolphin puppet tokens. It's really cute. However, I want to note that Archer Love Letter has made changes to 4 of the 8 cards in comparison to base Love Letter, making this particular variant the one with the most impactful changes to the game out of all the Love Letter variants as far as I'm aware. Oh, that burns my throat. Okay. In addition to these new effects, there's plenty of cards that actually interact with the hidden identity card. In base Love Letter, that card is just, boom, out of the game completely. You never even touch it. But in this version, there are cards that can peek at it. There are cards where you can guess it and win the round off of that. It does a lot of wacky doodle things with it. In comparison to normal Love Letter, this game has made every card significantly more impactful. And there's never a turn that feels useless, which is a problem I had with normal Love Letter because some cards were just very situational.
Crazed man.
There's 2 changes in particular that I want to highlight, and that's making use of the hidden identity card and making the 4 and 7 cards actually do more things. Okay, so in the original Love Letter, 7's effect was that you were forced to discard it if you had a 5 or a 6 in your hand. Because of this, the card always felt unimpactful because the most you could do with it was you discard it as bait if you didn't have a 5 or 6 in your hand, but at worst, it could force you into an unoptimal play if you really did have a 5 or a 6. In Archer Love Letter though, 7 now instead shuffles everyone's hands and the hidden identity card together, and then you re-deal them all out, which can give you a crazy amount of information if you happen to already know the hidden identity card. With 4, they slapped on an additional effect, which lets you peek at the hidden identity card, making the card very versatile because in the base game all it did was the first effect. Still funny, shut up. Okay, so with only 8 different cards, Archer Love Letter contains a surprising amount of thoughtful decisions to make during gameplay, yet it's incredibly fast and simple. It is literally the easiest thing to teach because of this. All you have to say is, on your turn, you draw a card, and then you discard a card and do that card's effect. Be the last one standing, or have the highest number when the game ends. Here's a reference card. All right, you're good to play now. It's so easy to teach. Like, that's literally the game. It's beautiful. Mwah. Love it. Lastly, the game is extremely compact and portable because at its core, the game is really just, 16 cards. So this one combined with the fact that rounds take about 5 minutes makes it the perfect game to play when waiting for something. So whether you're in line at a convention or waiting on friends to show up, this game can easily slot itself into those narrow time frames. Okay, for the cons, this is gonna feel very nitpicky, but that's just because I really can't find that much to say that's really wrong with the game. Firstly, Archer Love Letter doesn't really make the greatest use of the Archer show. At most, it's really just pictures and random quotes from the show that mean nothing for people who haven't watched it and feel kind of shoehorned in for the guys that have. From what I understand, most Love Letter variants are they're just kind of like this, but then again, I guess there's not really much room to add flavor with such a simple game in the first place. Also, the box version of this game could have been a little bit smaller. There's definitely a bit of wasted space in here, especially when you compare it with the bag version of Love Letter. Again, though, not really the biggest deal considering how small the box already is.
Now it is time for a recommended rating. We're kind of giving it more of an objective approach and how we would recommend the game. We both agree on the score, and actually for this game, the score is going to be A. 10 out of 10. Now, Love Letter really sets the bar for short games being 5 minutes and having so much cool def.
Yeah, so this game, for being a 5-minute game, hits all the right marks, right? It is extremely fun. It is extremely small. This is super compact, super portable. You can put this in your purse, your backpack, pretty much anything. And if you get the baggy version, which is this a little like tiny bag made out of like felt or something, like that one you can straight up probably put in your wallet, phone wallet even, for the OGs out there who are in with the times.
Yeah, the only caveat is that this game is out of print, so we were initially going to knock it down for that, but I mean, it's so good, we'd still give it a 10 out of 10. I think it's about, what, like $40 to buy right now?
Yeah, when I looked on like a quick Google search, most of the things I found were around $40. But even so, even if you don't want to get this version, there's a bunch of other versions out there. So anything that has Love Letter on it, you're going to have a good time. This is just the one that I like the most.
Yeah, it's definitely like your baseline filler.
Now for my personal score. What do I think of Archer Love Letter? I give this game a 10 out of 10. In my experience, this is always my go-to short game and has never disappointed me in fulfilling the task of being a 5-minute game. All the times that I've whipped it out, Love Letter consistently impresses. It is always the best waiting game because with 5 minutes, you can play that as much as you goddamn want. You gotta wait 20 minutes, you play 4 rounds. It just works out. It is by far the best option for situations when you're waiting to join maybe another game at your local friendly board game store. Or maybe when you're waiting on all your friends to arrive for a bigger board game and you have some time to kill with the guys who showed up early. Shout out to the early homies. It's also one of the games that put the nail in the coffin for other short social deduction games usually. Games like Coup or Resistance. I mean, when I say put the nail in it, like for me at least, all right? Some people really like the social deduction line aspect of those games, but at some point in my life, I was just like, this is too stressful. I don't want to be stressed out for like 30 minutes. I'd rather just play something with simple yet fun and short mechanics like a Love Letter. Archer Love Letter has shown me that you can have simple, thoughtful mechanics crammed into 5 minutes. And I will almost always suggest this game when it's available in a situation when there isn't much time. And because of that frequency, and how much I'm like, we should play Love Letter, to me, that is a set piece. That is a cornerstone. That is a masterpiece. That is a 10 out of 10 game.
And as for my score, I actually haven't played the game enough to thoroughly give it a score, but I have enjoyed all my experiences playing the game. I would probably rank it pretty highly. I just need more playthroughs. I agree with everything Daniel says. I just need to play it more.
It's a good game.
A few moments later.
As for my personal score, I'm going to give Archer Love Letter a 9 out of 10. I think it's a very well-balanced game with colorful art that is entertaining to me, even though I don't watch the show. The different strategies you can have depending on what information you have acquired through either cold reads or looking at cards is delightful, especially since this game is so short. It is very easy to ask for just one more round in this game. It always feels good when you win.
Archer, Once You Go Blackmail, is the quintessential 5-minute board game to have on your shelf. It's fast, it's fun, it's thoughtful. I've also done quite a bit of snooping around on the internet, and from what I can tell, this one is one of the standout variants of Love Letter, alongside the Batman Love Letter and the Lord of the Rings Love Letter. Though I did go ahead and look at the cards in those versions, and Archer Love Letter is by far the most unique since it changes 4 of the cards and actually interacts with the hidden identity card in the middle. There's also the Love Letter Premium Edition, which is basically a bigger and better version of the base game that adds so much more stuff that it can actually go up to 8 players. Granted, I haven't tried any of these other variants, just Archer and the vanilla Love Letter, but even so, I'd still wholeheartedly recommend Love Letter in any of its forms to just about anyone. With a slight favoring of the Archer version and the premium version for offering a little more than basic love letter. But that's going to be it for our Archer love letter review. Thank you all for watching and tuning in and being an awesome viewer. We will see you all in the next video. Goodbye.